guys, welcome to another video. So if you're watching this video, you may have already seen my Gunner Kennel review video, but that video was actually filmed after this one, and the reason for that is because there are some repairs that I want to make to this kennel before you see it in the review video. So I did want to get the review video out first though, and then the repair video. So the reason that I want to make some repairs to this kennel is that I did buy it used off Facebook Marketplace, and the people who had this crate had it for a high anxiety dog. So the dog did do some mostly cosmetic damage to the inside of the crate. Stuff that I'm not really too worried about, but I do know that Maverick is an opportunity chewer, so he will chew places that have already been chewed, even though he's not a dog who will start new chew areas. So the outside of the kennel is in great shape. They did have the chew kit on this crate, so you can see here the dog definitely tried to get out of this thing. So like I said, a lot of the damage on the inside is cosmetic, so you can see some of it here, and then right here, a little bit up top here. The biggest amount of damage though is right down here in the bottom corner, and the dog did actually get through this a little bit. So that is my main concern in terms of getting that repaired, because Maverick will continue to chew that since it's already started. That is going to be a little bit more of a complicated fix to this crate, but like I said, most of the damage is actually pretty cosmetic. So I am going to be doing my best to kind of clean this crate up a little bit, get it fixed up, and then it does need to be deep cleaned, which is why it's in the garage and not in the house. I just didn't want to chance the dogs, you know, picking up anything that might be on the crate in terms of disease or illness or things like that. So I will be kind of showing you guys how I'm doing it. This is kind of more of a test than it is a how-to, but if these methods work, then you can utilize them on your crates or your gunners if you have any of this kind of damage as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. So what I'm going to do first is take off the chew guard or the chew kit off the entire crate. I'm going to keep it and put it back on, but in terms of making sure that I can get to all the parts that need to be sanded, as well as making sure it's squeaky clean, I'm going to take all of them off for now. And I did just spend the last what felt like 30 minutes looking for my drill bits, and I can't find them literally anywhere. So we're going old school. It's going to take me an absolute eternity to get all of these off, but I do have all of my little baggies labeled so that I don't lose any screws. So let's get through it. Probably a time lapse for you because it might take me a year. So I've decided to take the crate apart. I just think it'll be easier to clean it and fix all the stuff that needs to be fixed anyway, versus me trying to climb inside of it. So let's see if I got the size right first try. I'm gonna try the smaller one. Oh my goodness. I got it right first try. Okay, so I have it taken apart, and the door is right there. But now you can kind of really see what needs to be fixed on it. Like I said, a lot of it is just some cosmetic sanding, but really right here is where it needs to be filled and then like smoothed out. We've got some cosmetic there, and then this is the top. Some cosmetic stuff there. More on this side. And then a little bit right there. So yeah, I'm gonna get the rest of the chew guard off this side, and then we're gonna start tackling this. And it really needs to be cleaned. That was under the door. Super gross. So I have an orbital sander and I'm using 100 grit sandpaper. I only have 100 and 150, so I may have to get something coarser, but I'm just gonna start with 100 and we're just gonna see how it does, what happens. Let me scoot you over a little bit. Yeah, we're just gonna see. So for just a quick little test run, that was fantastic. And as you get finer, it'll get smoother and smoother and then it won't be as rough. This might actually work. So just kind of like a quick sand with 100 grit, and it already looks significantly better. I seriously think this is gonna work. This is awesome. I'm really excited because I got a darn good deal on this crate and I don't have like escape artist dogs. So if I can just get it to where it's a little bit smoother, I'll be very happy with that. For the hole that we had, we just filled it with this spray foam stuff until it kind of started to bubble out. And then we let it dry, and once it was dry, I went in and kind of just picked off like the top part, which was it. I was surprised it didn't like pull the whole thing out, but it just kind of took the top off and made it easier for me to go in and hand sand it. The orbital sander doesn't fit back into that corner, so I just went in with some sandpaper. I think that's 100 grit, and I just went in there and kind of sanded up the whole area and got it basically prepped to use the JB Weld. So I found this JB Weld stuff when I was looking for a way to basically repair plastic on Google, and I was like, oh, it dries tan, perfect, this crate is tan. So I picked up some of this stuff. You have to mix it up. It's like the two sides, but then you have to work relatively quickly because it does dry in like 15 minutes. But I found that this stuff worked fantastic. Like I just applied it with the little wooden stick that it came with, and then filled like some of these holes. Like this one was a pretty big hole, so I just kind of like filled it up in there and let it sit. This was the worst side out of all of them. And I did kind of the same thing. I started with the top and kind of just like gooped it on there pretty thick so that it would kind of fill in the indents and things like that. And then once that started to dry a little bit, I went in and did down the side so that it wouldn't drip too much. And here I'm just using a plastic knife because I threw away the stick the last time I used it. But this worked great too. I just kind of smeared it on there and spread it out and kind of pushed it into all the little like crevices and things like that, and then you just let it dry. Coolest part about this JB Weld stuff is that you can sand it. That was one of the main reasons that I bought it. And supposedly on the package, it dries within 15 minutes and you can sand it within 30 minutes. I waited longer than that just to be safe because I was nervous about it like chipping off, but it really didn't. I went back in with 220, so a higher grit sandpaper on my orbital sander, and just went over all of the spots that I had used the JB Weld, and it smoothed it out great. Like, honestly, it looks super rough, but it doesn't feel that way at all. It's completely soft to the touch. Here is the finished product. This is the side that was completely chewed through. And then this side was just had kind of a hole. And it looks rough, but it's really not. I wish you guys could feel it. It's really smooth because I went in with 220 and sanded it down, so it's actually really smooth. And this is so hard, like, it's so hard to explain, but this JB Weld stuff is nuts. Like, it really does dry completely solid. So we did fill this with spray foam into that hole to kind of build up a surface that I could sand down, because the JB Weld does need something sanded to stick to. It won't stick to like this, it'll peel right off. So you want to pre-sand, but it's just really hard to explain, but it's hard and it's smooth on both sides. Some other little areas that I touched up. And then this side was the side that was super chewed. And this is like flat smooth. I know it looks like it's not, but it really is. It's just completely flat and smooth. I'm just shocked. Like, this stuff worked so well. I did not do it for looks. Obviously it looks all sanded up and whatever, but I don't care what it looks like. I just need it to be solid for my dogs. And it is. I really couldn't be happier. Hopefully I can do kind of like a side-by-side of what it looked like before, because it really is very repaired. So that's awesome. Now time to put it back together. The kennel is put back together. Pretty simple. I didn't film it because Gunnar literally has a video on how to put one of these bad boys together. So I didn't feel the need to make a video of me putting it together, but here it is. Chew guard, everything, and the repairs. Like I said, wasn't about it being pretty, it was about it being functional. And I think we nailed that. So, super pleased, perfect timing, because our side-by-side came in today, which is the whole reason I wanted this. So, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, everything I used to work on this kennel will be linked down in the description below. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a pretty long video, so I apologize in advance. It was a lot of work, but totally worth it, especially considering what I paid for this kennel. So, thank you guys again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.